What's poppin', y'all? Fetty Wap, the man that pretty much ran 2015, or at least 9 months of the year. He ran music entirely. He had been sentenced to prison time after this RICO charge of drug trafficking across the coasts, really. And he's finally spoken up about what he's been going through, what was going through his mind in this interview, and I think there's like some valuable insight we can get from here. So I'm just gonna read a couple of excerpts from it, and then I'll talk about it a little bit more. So one of the most important things that I found early on was when he said, I take accountability for everything I did. I don't blame nobody for anything else. I reflect on some stuff I did in the last few years, how I feel like I could have took music a lot more seriously than I did, and just to keep it that route instead of this route. I'm just grateful that I'm still here, I'm still breathing, I'm able to see some light at the end of the tunnel. And then he talks about some people that he's doing time with. Fetty Wap, I think he's doing like 5 years. I think it has to be like 7 max, but I think he's doing like 5. And then he's talking about people that he's kicking it with that are doing 50 years, 30 years, some people facing 100 plus years, and they're just positive every day. And, he's speaking to them, they're speaking to him, and kind of giving him insight and telling them like, yo, what the hell have you been doing? That's the short end of it. And then when he says to the judge, or when he said to the judge, I only ever wanted to help my family. I never asked myself it was all the way right. And he says, because it was true. It's all true. A lot of people don't say it to my face, but I hear the rumors. Like, he dumb as hell. He had the world in his hands and all this other stuff. But people don't understand the stuff I was going through with this music stuff. And like I always say, I never fought no labels. I didn't fought 300. I didn't fought RGF. I signed them contracts. Willie Maxwell signed them contracts. Nobody made me do it. Nobody forced me to do it. You know what I'm saying? When I put myself in that situation, I didn't really think for the long run. I'm thinking I could just run up a few $1 million and I'm going to be good forever. And he ran up a lot more than a few $1 million. I never had no financial guidance and like a person to really guide me the right way. It was just like everybody just didn't care. As long as they got their money, they just didn't give a F. You know what I'm saying? When I wanted to start doing stuff, this is what I know how to do. It was like, I'm being honest with myself. Like, all right, the music wasn't really doing that good. I'm putting out music, but nobody's paying attention. So I'm like, man, F it. I'm going to go back to what I know how to do. Instead of pursuing my career harder or going harder to make people listen, man, I kind of was a coward. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm falling off, F it. I ain't about to look like it. You know what I'm saying? I was a coward for that. And I was just like, I can't let my family down. It wasn't for to be like, I'm outside, I'm really doing this stuff for real. It wasn't for none of that. And he kind of goes on to talk about his family and trying to make sure that they're okay. And then he references 50 Cent. He said, 50 Cent helped me a lot. He started showing me different ways, like stuff to invest in and stuff like that. Like he put something together for us to really help grow, like really big. He's doing something big. I can't spoil it, but we're doing something really, really big that's going to change the game. And I'm not even talking music-wise. I'm talking business-wise. And then they go on to ask him some other questions. I don't want to read the entire thing. We'd be here all day. So they ask him about Trap Queen, 679, My Way, which are songs that are still generating a ton of money. And he goes on to say that he pretty much made no money from the actual music. The money that he made was just from shows. And he never saw the music money. And this is crazy because in an interview, if you guys recall, Fetty Wap took a very, very small advance. It was like $50,000 from 300 Entertainment. And he recouped that within 2 weeks because Trap Queen just blew up. So he had already recouped, which is the issue that most, not record labels, the issue that most artists on record labels have is they get a fat advance and their music can't pay for it. But that happened for him. So the thing that he's always talked about having an issue with is the guy that ran RGF, Nit the Grit, I believe. And they had beef. So allegedly, Nit the Grit was the guy that was getting all the payments from the music. And Fetty Wap was just getting shows and appearances and all this other stuff he was doing. Which some people say, you're not focused on that. When money's flowing in like it was flowing in for Fetty Wap, it's kind of hard to know where the hell it's coming from. I mean, there's just so much money coming in. You're not like, where's the music money? You're just getting a huge bag. And I think this is also a symptom of having blown, or I would say a side effect of having blown up so quickly, is that you don't get to the stages where, okay, you're making or you're losing money on music, right? That's where most people start. Then maybe they're breaking even, right? They're putting out music, they're doing their thing. It's breaking even with the cost they're putting into it. Then they start making a little bit of profit, and then they start making a lot more money. Then they start making a ton of money. So they went through all the phases to kind of go through the growing pains where maybe someone, didn't pay them out or they didn't get paid from the music. So when you're making a significantly less amount of money, you can look at it and say, where's the money for this? And then make that adjustment. So by the time you get popular and are making millions like Fetty Wap was doing, then you know how to handle everything. But Fetty Wap kind of just got burst straight into the spotlight to tens of millions of dollars and didn't know how to handle it all, had a bunch of kids, a lot of responsibility. But one thing that we do got to give him respect for is he was out here selling drugs. And he wasn't ever saying like, yo, I'm out here in the streets. Even though he did grow up in Patterson and was around that environment, he never tried to portray that image. Even though 2017, I would say 2019 onward, it definitely profited to paint that image. I mean, you had King Von's and types like that. Although Fetty Wap's music was never like rough around the edges. It was more like singy, melodic. So probably it wouldn't go too well with that type of persona, but he was living that and he didn't feel the need to do it. So I don't think it was an insecurity thing that he went back to it. But he did say he was a coward for not pursuing music, which is about the whole falling off thing. So this circles back to if he's having issues with his label, which he didn't complain about. And also, keep in mind, Fetty Wap's been in there for a little minute now. He has never once complained about jail or prison. I mean, we have every rapper saying, man, they're getting beat up, they're getting held up upside down, and COs are taking their turns with them like a piñata, hitting them with baseball bats, belts, whatever the hell they've got in there. Yet Fetty Wap has not said a peep. And even in this interview, he's not saying, man, they're treating me so bad in here that we got to rework the system just because he's famous. That's not shots at anybody else, for whoever thinks that's about Meek Mill. Meek Mill actually, that was very unjust what happened to him. So he's not complaining at all. And he never really complained about the music either. Like, he never said like, yo, nobody's paying attention to me. Nobody wants to do features with me. Nobody's collaborating with me right now. He didn't do any of that, which is what a lot of people do too. But he didn't, he kind of did consistently drop. I think the label issues is what screwed him, and kind of music moving forward. I think if he had a good relationship with his label, maybe they helped him out with some not features actually. Helped him out with some writers, get him in some writing camps, had some people work on music for him, then I think that would have worked way better for Fetty Wap's longevity. But I think I don't know, there's just so much that went on. I've talked about it before. But I think the important part of this is not only does he seem like he's learned his lesson, but the light at the end of the tunnel is that Fetty Wap will get a second chance when he comes out. All eyes are going to be on Fetty Wap when he gets out of prison, whenever that is, however many years. Because Pooh Shiesty, people are going to have their eyes on him, and Pooh Shiesty's not even a tenth of how big Fetty Wap was. Fetty Wap had a generation on lock. They remember his songs. You play the song, they're like, oh, whoa, that's that song. So when he comes out, all the media outlets are going to be on him. Rappers are going to work with him. They're going to say he was solid, all this other stuff. And I hope he's able to capitalize on it, unlike Bobby Shmurda. And keep in mind, Fetty Wap has been dropping pretty good music. I haven't listened to the project that he dropped while locked up right now. But I think the best situation that Fetty Wap could have done when he was stuck in this whole situation with the music not doing well is try to get dropped from his label. Because if he was independent and he was just consistently releasing music, he would have gotten to a point where he was making a decent amount of money, because he just has so much pull on Spotify, Apple Music, stuff like that. People would see his new music. Now, would it be smash hits, Hot 100, going viral? Probably not, but he wouldn't need that unless, you take a look at his expenses. And he was moving mad when he first got the bread. And he was buying everybody cars. He was doing all this insane stuff. So I think it's just to say, if Fetty Wap was able to get to a point where he was like, damn, I got to go back to doing what I know best, then no other rapper has the excuse or should have the mentality of, yo, I'm balling right now. Let me ball out like crazy. Now, that doesn't mean you be stingy, but Fetty Wap was 99.99% more lit and had more money and had way more opportunities than you did when you first blew up. So if someone just blows up and they think it's going to last forever, look at Fetty Wap. It didn't even last 3-4 years before he had to start getting back to it. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Are you looking forward to Fetty Wap being released? Do you think that will assist him in coming back? I think that's probably the biggest thing that could have happened to him. Otherwise, you would have to drop a smash hit, which I don't even know if Fetty Wap has the right teams right now. Because if his label isn't working with him, he didn't have an in-house team that was working with him to promote the music, telling him what to do, how to handle his social media. These are all different verticals and different jobs, which are completely different from 2014, 2015, when Fetty Wap first got on. So to understand all of these platforms is a skill in and of itself. And I think he was kind of just moving how he was back then and just hoping things would resonate, which really isn't the case for the most part. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.